How's it going, folks? This is James coming at you with a little review here. I've been meaning to do this one for a while, and really a lot more than what the hell I've got uploaded. I don't know exactly what the hell went on with my last phone, but I definitely didn't get everything done that I was supposed to. It just started wigging out pretty bad. And as of right now, I don't have my computer or anything able to get hooked up. So it's not the I don't know, just the best case as of right until now, really, to be honest with you. But any case, however, the matter. It's about the Crafty vaporizer. I got this about 3 or 4 years ago. Now 3 actually. Be more specific. I know that was very like what the hell I'm talking about with that, and I'm gonna apologize. A lot of my reviews, especially, are gonna be a lot better and in a lot better light than in a freaking pickup. But as of right this second, this is the best thing I can do. I also normally be inside my apartment, but that's as of right this second, when the girl's up, so it's gonna have to do. But back to the Crafty, I definitely like this a lot. I've got the Da Vinci as well, and that I like, the whole glass on glass thing. And you think, the only reason I mention that with the Da Vinci is you think that this being I looked all this up at one point when I was going to do the review. I was about to ship this back off, and I'll get to that in a minute, on why, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, I don't think. I'm going to do a pros and cons on it, but it's definitely a type of plastic. I don't know if it's a little bit more complex, something or another, than that there, but it's definitely, it's not glass, it's not ceramic or anything. It's an adjustable tip, and I would apologize for the cigarette, but I figured since this video is on a more of a smoking device than a vaping device, who cares, right? So, if so, I apologize, but I think it's kind of stupid to apologize, because why smoke if then you're going to apologize? I was going to finish it, but I really don't have time, so I just made the video during. But I do really like this vaporizer. I didn't as much so like the price, with it being right, I think it was right at $370 with tax, where I had got this. I got a little deal, so the guy said, and what I've looked up on it, I did get a pretty good deal, say probably $10 or $15, especially since I didn't have to pay shipping, and I might have saved $30 or $40 maybe on total. But this is definitely the best vaporizer I've used to date, that is portable. I'm sorry. There is one other vaporizer that's not a portable, and that's the Volcano itself. I haven't really used a lot of tabletop models, so I'm not going to really go into, and that's why I specified portables as well, because there is one more better than this, and I haven't used a whole lot more, but this does beat 3 of the tabletop models, and I will say this is, in my opinion, just as good as, if not better than, the Buddha tabletop vaporizer, which is a completely different brand. But this is a Storz & Bickel. It's a 5-volt. It's got 2 little lines and a 10W max. You cannot see it on there at all. Well, a little, not really. Anyways, each model gives you a little SN number, and you have to enter that in. Now, there is one of the cons, and I'll kind of get into that, the pros and cons later, but I'm kind of breaking it down first, is you have to have a phone, or not just a phone, but something with Wi-Fi to hook it up to, that you can download the app. So iPad, a Kindle, a Nook, something of that nature. I'm pretty sure the Nook works. I think I did it with mine. Maybe I didn't. Maybe you had to download another, like Adobe Flash or something like that. But I know you could do it, especially with the newer ones. It wasn't a Nook color, but it was a little bit more advanced than that one. But it was like the first full size, like 7-inch screen. But anyway, you do have to have the app to change the temperature. Now, if you don't have a phone, I'd suggest that if you can't, go in and change it. Now, it's not something you have to use all the time, and it's not something I would really worry about either, unless you really are in an illegal state where you can't legally smoke, and you might either want to just not care or go ahead and get somewhere where it's legal, one of the two. So I know that, like I've said probably 5 times over, this is a good product. I'm not getting anything for saying that I like it. The price is definitely pretty out there, and I know it's not affordable to, I'd say, at least probably 40% of smokers, probably more, unless it's something that, I know me personally, I didn't save up or anything. It was just kind of, I just went out and bought it, but it was a lot, needless to say. Now, it does, when you get on vaporizers, it does save a lot, and the after product is I think a lot better. And I know I said a lot twice, I meant that. A lot better. Does kind of still look like tobacco or tea. It is brown, when it comes out still, but it is you can vape it. You can clean this sucker out, because you got to clean it every time, for sure. I recommend that with any vaporizer, but this one especially. It comes apart, and that's where you load it. It's got a pretty decent sized chamber. It even gives you some, it's like a little Brillo pad you can put in there, and you can put concentrates on it, which you need to change the temperature. I believe it's hotter than what you would normally have it set on herbs, which I don't ever change it. I have it all set on one temperature. I don't know if that's necessarily good or bad, but I really don't do too much of the wax, regardless anyway, and then especially not through this, which I have done it quite a bit. So this is a good machine. It works very nicely, fits nice in the hand, it's compact, it's pretty discreet. You can actually literally sit there and vape it, and I don't even think a lot of people even know what the hell you have in your hand. It's made by Germans. I don't know if it's actually, made in Germany, so, I'm not saying that, and that's another thing. It's taken some abuse, which that is one of the reasons that I have to ship it back, just because it does have a little piece that's busted off of it. It happened when I was in Florida last year. You can see that tooth right there, it's broke. So I got some tape on it. It kind of cracked up top here too, and this is not anything I would blame on the construction. Really, I mean, they could have made it a little bit thicker, but we were really rushing. I wasn't planning on having this. I kind of forgot that we had a couple bags with us. Somebody had actually broke into our hotel room. My hotel room, it's my freaking condo. It's a 2-bedroom villa I own in Orlando and Kissimmee. and they didn't break in, they just got a key and they came in with the pad. But anyway, needless to say, I got the general manager and everything, and I'm not going to say where that is for a number of reasons, not just because of business reasons on their behalf, but it's my home for, I know, one of the 52 weeks out of the year. It is on Valentine's Day week, 7th week, which trading it in is pretty good. But anyway, sorry for kind of rambling on that, but just to give you an idea, no, we weren't in there, but I do have, my daughter was just over 1 at the time, and just the thought of somebody could get in there, not just for my fiance's safety or my safety, but her safety solely, my daughter's, not solely, but you get what I'm saying. That's one of the main things I cared about. Now, when it dropped, I don't think it broke immediately, but it did, blast up right then. I think, most of the crack, it stuck together though. It broke in my hand. One day I was taking it on and putting it back off. I think it was actually maybe later on that day. I think we were on the trip back. I noticed it, and I kind of like super glued it a little bit, and I don't know. But anyway, it still works. I mean, it's not, it doesn't even need this tape. I just have the tape on it just to make sure that it, it doesn't completely freaking fall apart, which I've dropped it since quite a few times. This on the back is where the USB charger is. Charging on top. It's got, okay, it's got that little stick that covers the port. It does say it's water resistant as well, and you can get new tops. You can get really anything for this thing. I'm having a hard time figuring out if I can replace the case. It's got a heat shield on it. I don't know if you can see. It's ridged. So they did it reminds me a lot of a shotgun, actually. Or I had a SOCOM 2 years back, and it was a lot like the heat shield on that, actually. That was hold, it wasn't ridged, but it still eerily reminds me a lot of it. But anyway, this thing, it's really hard to beat. Now I haven't tried the Mighty. I've used this in the Volcano. The Mighty is the only one. Or no, there's a couple more actually. Come to think about it, that I haven't used. I forget the name of that one, but there's this one, the Mighty, and then the Volcano. That's their, I'm not gonna say normal 3, but the 3 that I'm normally used to seeing anyways. The Mighty I haven't seen anywhere, and this was actually the only one I've ever seen in store. The first one I saw in store was this one. I bought it. I've seen a couple in a couple other stores, but it was the only one that was there that day. Now, like I've said, it works really good. I mean, you light it up, you can make it beep. It's got these light settings. It'll go from red. I've got it set to vibration, so it'll and vibrate, and that was me. So, and then it'll go to green and vibrates, let you know, hey, it's primed up, it's heated, so you can start, hitting it. It's not something you gotta, start, acting like you're smoking out of a can or nothing. The slower, I think, the better. Actually, let me turn this thing back off. It's just this little orange button that's blue, and it flashes blue when it's charging. It takes about 45 minutes to charge up, and you can pack this sucker about 4 or 5 times, maybe a little bit more, depends on how long you vape it for real. But I know for me, about sitting down and vaping it for about 5 to 10 minutes, 4 to 7 minutes would be more accurate, for about 5 to 7 times. It's a lot, actually, the more that I say, but the reason I say that number 5 to 7 is I I've only had this thing die on me in the mid-process of vaping once or twice, and it's not really that big a deal, especially if you've gotten about halfway through it, because it's for the most part already heated. Now it's gonna slowly but surely, cool down and not heat back up anymore. But like I say, if you vape on the sucker for about 3 minutes and it dies, not a big deal. Just sit there and slowly vape that sucker, and just make sure when you do dump it out, you just save that load for sure. I would save it all, any load, but maybe a flower, but definitely that one, since if it dies halfway or before, you definitely want to keep that one and roll that one up your next little Tennessee torpedo or spliff or whatever. So it's definitely a good item. Get into the pros and the cons. I'm already at 16 minutes. I would say that the pros definitely outweigh the cons. I'm gonna go with the cons first because it's only a few. And the first one's the price. Not everybody's gonna be able to get this, and not everybody's gonna be able to get this exactly right when they want, for sure, at least. Not saying that you're not going to be able to afford it, but if you are, great. But $350 or almost $400. I've seen some sites have them over $400. It's definitely an investment. I would say it's a good investment for sure. It saves bud, I think. You get to smoke it twice, or vape it once and then smoke it a second time, basically. But it's, in my mind, it gets me to where I need to be a lot quicker. And I'm not going to say less, because this does take more than the Da Vinci. This is just about like a average size bowl pack, all the way up, I'd say. And I'm not talking about an average size bowl halfway filled. And the reason I say this is, the second I said that, I thought about it. You can pack a lot of herb or tobacco, of whatever you're smoking, in a glass or a metal pipe, or any pipe for that instance, all the way up, even little ones. So I'd say, your average one, a half a bowl pack, and that's what this is. And I'll even kind of show it to you a little bit better, and I can even put my finger down in it a little bit. Well, found the hole there, Buster. Anyway, that's what I got right there. And there's a screen right there, so I'm not trying to mash it down or nothing, but that's, it's not very deep. That's it. It's kind of hot, actually. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely not very deep. It doesn't take a whole lot. This is pretty cool itself. I'm not gonna pull it apart because this thing is rather dirty. It's the first one. I have not bought a thing for this, and I wish I had. My loader that's broke. It even comes with a grinder, and the loader is an orange thing. It looks just like the grinder. It locks down. It's even got a little place where you can keep the bud in it, and a place in the grinder where you can keep it in the top, a bigger compartment and a smaller compartment. So you're getting a lot more than just a vaporizer when I think about it. You even get a little, looks like a witch's broom. It's a little detail brush. You brush that, your herb right on out. If you're doing wax and you get that on there, you might want to just wipe that off with like a dab rag or something like that. But all I've got right on there now is some electric tape, and the electric tape kind of gets hot and tends to peel off, so I put just about a 3-inch piece of it's like hospital tape or surgical tape or whatever. I don't think it's surgical tape, but like your Rite Aid or CVS or whatever, Walgreens, that you go and get. It's like your non-stick tape, basically, even though it sticks pretty good on here. So it's definitely a good buy, and that's for sure. Here's my fiance now. wondering what the fuck I'm doing. I'm guessing, probably thinking I'm doing something I'm not supposed to, even though I never do. She's a paranoid when I tell you. But it's definitely worth the money, and I definitely think that, you know, anybody that wants to, you know, get a vaporizer and is already looking at maybe like a Hacks or something like that, that's what I was going to get. And I'm not trying to down that or anything. I'm just saying that I've heard from a couple of people this is a lot, I don't know about a lot better than the Packs or the DaVinci, but better. And, you know, the performance is better. I think the charge may be a little better even than the DaVinci. I don't know about the Packs, but it's definitely up there. And I do, you know, I've have a lot of electronic cigarettes and stuff, and as far as, you know, anything that compares to anything, I would rather have this, even if I was trying to quit smoking cigarettes, and throw some tobacco in here and vape it. And I'm not lying, I've tried it. This thing tastes pretty good with tobacco through it. You can even bust a cigar down and throw it in there, and it actually tastes pretty good. I know I did a White Owl, and that was actually pretty good tasting. I know it tasted like it for about 6 months after. I could kind of taste it when it got real hot, or if I turned it up on the app. But, you know, it finally, you know, I think cooked out or baked out or whatever. But it's good performance. It really is. And you can, like I said, you can adjust it. I don't know the exact settings, but you can go to Fahrenheit or